Oh my God. Let's do this, folks. Let's do this. I can't even believe what just happened. I can't believe it. Can I get this out here? Tweet this out. I can't even believe what just happened. I genuinely do not have a clue what in God's name just happened. Oh my God. I don't know. I am honestly in a state of shock still, to be quite honest with you. Playoffs. Bills. Any rebuff. NFL. Let's go, Lucas. Let's go. I'm gonna get going in just a second once I get this tweet out. That I'm doing this. I am in a state of shock, man. I honest to God don't even know like what happened. I don't know what to say. I don't like. I'm contemplating even like making a video about it. Like, what do I say that people don't know? What I'm gonna have an information overload. I'm like overwhelmed by what just happened, to be perfectly honest. I cannot comprehend the amount of records we broke, the amount of points we scored. I don't know. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. I was contemplating going live. I'm like, you know what? I got to do it. Like, how do I not? How do I not after something like that? What a game is right. Kim, awesome to see you guys. Robert, thank you guys. Lucas, thank you guys for stopping in. I'm still in a state of shock. Like, holy crap. Holy shit. That one throw by Josh to Emmanuel Sanders, I've watched that clip over and over again. I was just in a state of shock. He barely leaned into it. He took one half step and just gunned it. I've never seen. Talk about a unicorn quarterback. That is Josh Allen. All right, so I got this tweet out. All right, perfect. Now I can focus. Unbelievable. I mean, absolutely unbelievable what happened in tonight's game. I didn't expect that whatsoever. I don't know if anybody did. The first Knox touchdown was bonkers. The second near Knox touchdown was bonkers. The first one was crazy. It looked like he was throwing it out of the back of the end zone, and Dawson Knox goes up and climbs the ladder. The second one, Josh Allen just guns it to Dawson Knox, who does a great job boxing out his defender. And then the third one that almost should have been a touchdown was when he rolled out on that bootleg when it looked like we were going to run the ball, and he gunned it to Dawson Knox down the field, and Dawson made another awesome grab on an all-pro corner, if I'm not mistaken. J.C. Jackson was an all-pro selection, right? I might be wrong. Either way, J.C. Jackson's supposed to be this fantastic corner. He got cooked tonight. He got fried worse than Levi Wallace on a couple plays. He was all over the place, and he couldn't make a play. I mean, we embarrassed the Patriots in every facet possible. I'm like I said, I'm still trying to comprehend this. I genuinely don't know if I don't even think I'm going to make like an actual video. Yes, I was going to get to that, Robert. That Hyde interception was also crazy. That was definitely the play of the game for me personally. That Hyde interception. I mean, if Nelson Aguilar comes down with that ball and Micah Hyde isn't able to get there and make that play, it's a 7-7 football game. I mean, that could have made things a lot different for the way, this game went. Micah Hyde made that play. It completely turned the tides. I mean, a 7-7 game is a lot different than 14-0, obviously. And it was certainly game-changing. I would argue that that's the game, play of the game. I don't think anybody's really going to argue me on that. But my Lord in heaven was that a humongous play by Micah Hyde. Guys, if you're stopping in, leave a comment in the comment section. I want to say hi. JT, what's up, bro? Thank you for that. I hope you're hopping on the bandwagon because it's going to be a good time for the next couple of weeks. Assuming that we continue to play this kind of football. But I appreciate it, JT. Yeah, I mean, could anybody have expected that? When I made my video talking about the predictions for Wild Card Weekend, I thought the 4.5 spread, the Bills were 4.5 point favorites going to this game. 4.5 point favorites. Never in God's name. How am I not wearing the high jersey? Brandon, I really should be right now. Should I do it? I can't right now. The high jersey's so bad. It's so bootleg. It's just so ugly to wear. But anyway, yes, Micah Hyde made the play of the game without question. Without question. That play changed the entire game script going forward. Oh, shit. My camera fell. Whoa. There's always got to be something going on with me, right? All right, there we go. So the Bills were 4.5 point favorites going to this game. I mean, honest to God, I was kind of disgusted by that. I certainly expected a closer game, but not close in the sense that, it ever felt like we were going to lose, if that makes sense. I always had a feeling that we were going to have a good handle on this game, almost like the second game against the Patriots that we played, where we easily were going to win, and it felt like that the whole time, but the score didn't necessarily portray it. That's how I felt about going into this game. And 4.5 points just seemed too little. Tito, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping in. You Colts fans, if there's any of you guys stopping in here, I really, my heart's breaking for you guys. But I hope you're able to look forward to the offseason. It looks like Chris Ballard is kind of done with Carson Wentz based on some of the comments he's made recently. But we'll see what happens. But I hope you're still able to enjoy the postseason and, hop on the Bills bandwagon if you don't mind. We still have a lot of room over here. People might try and tell you otherwise, but we do. Yeah, Robert, I mean, like I said, I don't think anybody expected this score. You cannot predict this kind of outcome in a game like this. I mean, the Patriots had a top 5 defense. They have continuously slowed us down previously. I mean, what was the score of the second time we played them? Patriots, Bills. I think we put up 27. Oh boy, what was that score? Patriots, Bills, week. Let's see. 30, 21. It was only 33-20. Anyway, what is Tito says, I'm torn between y'all and the Bengals just because that franchise deserves a good season. Yeah, I would say, I mean, I like the Bengals. I'm one of those people that were hating on the Bengals a lot before they beat the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. And I did not expect them to go and beat the Chiefs the way they did. And, that was shocking. So that really opened my eyes to see how good the Bengals really were. Going into this game against the Raiders for the Bengals, I thought there was a slight chance the Raiders could win, but the Cincinnati Bengals are just so much more talented than the Las Vegas Raiders, on top of the fact that the Raiders were shooting themselves in the foot on a continuous basis. That was brutal for the Raiders. But, if they play a mistakeless football, at least for maybe 1 or 2 quarters, I think the Raiders really had a good chance to come out on top. So, the Bengals are talented, but I think they're going to get they're going to get bit in the ass by their inexperience one way or another down the line here. JT says, yeah, this game, the score was a lot closer than it actually was. Yeah, this game, I mean, I hope we get a better QB. I think the Colts will probably move on from Carson Wentz. I don't think there's any excuse for what happened in that game. If they roll with him for another year, then Carson Wentz is going to have to do a lot of proving. He's going to have to go out there and win them games. It can't be just off the back of Jonathan Taylor again. He's going to have to prove himself to the team and the rest of the world that he can still do it. But yeah, I mean, still on the Bills here. I like I said earlier, I don't know if I don't even know if I can make a regular post game video about what happened in this game. What do I say that nobody has seen? I have gone through so many stats. I have on my phone right now screenshotted so many different stats, so many different records, so many bonkers statistics that we broke tonight. I couldn't possibly talk about all of these things in one video. It's just not possible. On top of the game itself and the individual plays, I couldn't do it. It's information overload for me. My brain will start to crack. And yeah, I mean, 87-0 is an honest score. It really could have been that bad if we really wanted to keep the pedal to the metal. And, I kind of think we let up at times, but we kept it down for the most part. Tito says, do you have a team you like in the NFC? I'm not really a fan of any of the teams. An NFC team that I'm kind of pulling for. Man, not really having one either myself, Tito. I'm probably thinking I like the Rams just because I want Matthew Stafford to prove that he actually can do it. And I've always liked Matthew Stafford, so I want him to kind of prove himself. So I guess the Rams, but otherwise, no, I really could care less about the NFC, truthfully. I'll be interested to see if the Packers can make it to the big game, because we've seen time and time again how many years they have gone to the NFC Championship and not been able to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. So we'll see if this is actually the year. Juice, what's going on, bro? Packers. I hope the Packers lose in the NFC Championship and Rodgers comes to Indy. Rodgers going to Indy. I mean, that's a bit of a reach there. I don't know if that's we're talking about different types of miracles and prayers. Rodgers to Indy. That would be broken, though. I can't lie. Kim says this was the team we've been looking for. Fire on all cylinders at the same time. Yep. I mean, this is the capability we knew we could play with all damn season. It was just so frustrating seeing the games throughout the year where we were just so inconsistent, where the offensive line was struggling, where we were getting no pass rush whatsoever. I mean, it was so tough to watch because we knew what we had. We knew how much potential the Bills could play with, and we just never seemed to reach it. And there is no better time than now to reach this peak. Truthfully, this was the perfect time. It doesn't matter what your record is throughout the regular season. If you peak at the right time, you'll go all the way. And I think hopefully we'll be able to come back next week and play with the same type of energy. It's just a matter of playing like this each week, because we are the best team in the NFL if that's the team that shows up each and every week, without a question. I hope the Packers lose in the give up 15 firsts for Deshaun Watson. I saw something, not about Deshaun Watson specifically, but I don't know who it was. I think it was Colin Cowherd, actually, talking about how the Giants should give up 15 first-round picks. Or not 15. You got that number stuck in my mind. He was talking about how Russell Wilson to the Giants would be worth however many years that Russell Wilson plays with the Giants. So let's say hypothetically Russell Wilson plays for the Giants if he were to get traded there for 6 years. Would you give up 6 first-round picks if you're the Giants for Russell Wilson? Is that fair? And I guess you could kind of be talking about the same kind of value with a guy like Deshaun Watson. I don't know if that's even – is that feasible? I don't know. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in with a lot of these guys. It's I don't know. That's a really tough spot. What else do we got in here? Keep leaving your thoughts and questions down here, guys. I want to keep talking to you guys. Freddie from Mark Carly to Indy. I cannot believe that Josh is already second to Kelly in quarterback playoff starts in franchise history. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that Josh Allen he's become this unicorn. I mean, I think I could speak for a lot of people when I say I was not too happy. Does that say Jack Eichel to Indy? Okay, that's a good one. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I was not a big fan of drafting Josh Allen. We weren't really feeling it at the time. I was on the Josh Rosen bandwagon, and I'm not too happy or not too proud to admit that, but I was. I wanted Josh Rosen. I thought he was the safer option, the more proven guy, and we went with Josh Allen. I wasn't happy about it, but here we are. I mean, we all knew what his ceiling could be, but this is higher than the ceiling, right? We drafted Josh Allen knowing his ceiling was like here. Josh Allen has not only hit this ceiling, Josh Allen has surpassed this ceiling. Josh Allen's ceiling was like, I don't even know. But Josh Allen is insane. I can't even, man. Josh Allen is the unicorn of quarterbacks. He has every mechanical tool you can possibly ask for. He's so physically talented and gifted. He's got this attitude that you can't buy, that you can't find. He's just so bought into the process. he's the perfect guy. I mean, I am legitimately ready to sit here and tell you that Josh Allen has the capability to be the best quarterback of all time. With the tools, with the arm strength, with the physicality on the ground. If he just consistently plays at a level like this, not maybe to this level, he's absolutely the best quarterback in his draft. I think that's 100% proven. He could really be one of the best quarterbacks of all time if he keeps it together. You know what, John? When are you taking that Eichel jersey down? I really don't want to, man. It took me so long to get it up there. It's perfect there. I don't want to talk about it. Do we really have to talk about Jack Eichel right now? That's 2 Jack Eichel comments that I've gotten right now. Why are we doing this? We're trying to be happy, okay? Meanwhile, Jack Eichel's in Vegas, probably partying his ass off, and he's about to make his return and win MVP next year. I don't want to talk about it. Rashid, nice to see you in here. Intimidator, guys, you guys are great. Bates played well again today. That's a comment I want to touch on as well. Ryan Bates has turned into this key, this perfect puzzle piece to this offensive line, and suddenly, I mean, I can't even say it's revamped. It's Ryan Bates is just, it's like the key. He was the key, and it's working to perfection. I don't know how or why this happened. Why is Ryan Bates the answer? But it's crazy. Ever since Ryan Bates started, Josh Allen hasn't been sacked a single time. Where did this Ryan Bates, where did this come from? And I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that I thought Ryan Bates should have been in the lineup the entire time, because I would have never thought about Ryan Bates coming in and being the savior of our offensive line. But you have to wonder why it took injuries and poor performance amongst all of the other guys in the offensive line to give this guy a chance. And obviously, I think he probably could have been a big help in games earlier in the season, such as the Jacksonville Jaguars game, where we had no offensive line help whatsoever, such as the Pittsburgh Steelers game. The offensive line is run blocking great. And I think that's all we ever needed, was just halfway decent run blocking as well. And maybe Devin Singletary can prove himself. And looky here, Devin Singletary, 2 touchdowns again. Devin Singletary has a touchdown in his last 5 games. 5 games. I think that is literally the amount of games that Ryan Bates has started. Devin Singletary has, don't quote me on this, but I think Devin Singletary has a touchdown in every single game that Ryan Bates has started. Is that not nuts? What else do we got in here? JT, you're going nuts. Josh Allen is the new Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly will be dreaming of Josh Allen is soon, truthfully. Like, that is how good Josh Allen is. Quentin Nelson to Buffalo, God, I wish. Tom Brady to Indy. Yeah, okay. What's up, Jose? Thank you for stopping in. What's up, fam? So glad Buffalo kicked ass. I think we're all pretty damn happy right now. Could you imagine if this game would have gone south? How crushing it would have been for the city of Buffalo. With how high our hopes have been this year. I think this is a pretty good way to kick off the playoffs. Intimidator. Tommy Doyle, 5th round rookie contributing. Gabe Davis, 4th round pick. He is a dude. Spencer Brown, 3rd round rookie stud. Yes. Looks to be like we can absolutely be seeing the guys we picked making an impact down the road. Gabe Davis, we've all known could be that guy. And it's crazy. Kevin, dude, I saw your comment. That was crazy. Kevin 711, he was commenting on my predictions video a couple minutes ago. He's like, Tommy Doyle went to my high school. That's pretty nuts. And that'd be pretty awesome. How tall was Tommy Doyle in high school? I really want to know that. That guy was probably humongous. But wow, I mean, guys, I still am having a hard time comprehending everything we did. I mean, we have completely dehumanized everything Bill Belichick has ever stood for against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, he is just notorious for torching us. He is notorious for shutting us down. And now we're suddenly doing the complete opposite. We're not even just winning against the Bill Belichick-led New England Patriots anymore. We are simply decimating. And I don't get it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, halfway through this year, with the way things were going, where we were damn near on the playoff bubble, I would not have told you that we would have blown the Patriots out by this amount. I don't think anybody could have seen it coming, truthfully. If you saw this coming, then good for you. I mean, you're some sort of wizard. Oh my God, guys, leave some more questions down below. I want to have some more conversation, of course, with you guys. But I was wondering, other than the Micah Hyde, the Micah Hyde interception, What was the craziest play you saw in this game? Because there sure were a ton of them. I think the second craziest game the second craziest play in this game was probably, I kind of mentioned it earlier, when Josh Allen gunned that ball to Emmanuel Sanders on that deep pass. It was like 50 yards. He just gunned it to the back of the end zone. I think that was the craziest play beside the Micah Hyde interception for me personally. He was like 6'8" or 6'9", always ducky when he was going through doors. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's kind of scary to see how tall those guys are. Like, there were a couple panoramas. There were a couple shots on the broadcast where Devin Singletary was running next to like Spencer Brown, and he was running next to Mitch Morse, and these dudes tower over Devin. Granted, Devin's short, but still, those guys are huge. Bills have given Belichick his worst 3 losses. Yep, that is one of those stats that I was talking about. One of the 100,000 stats that have come from this game. He played hockey. Tommy Doyle played hockey. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine flying up the wing and seeing Tommy Doyle on the blue line ready to lay a hip into you? Could you imagine Tommy Doyle playing defenseman and you're trying to literally start a breakout and you get a buddy pass from your defenseman in the corner and Tommy Doyle pinches and kills you? Good God, he played hockey. That's kind of scary. The Pats are going to be cold and sad back to New England. The Patriots, I want to know if the Patriots, like, I wonder how they feel about this game. Because I'm not going to sit here and say they came into this game expecting to lose, especially not in the way they did. But you kind of wonder, like, they kind of had to know they weren't going to make it very far, right? I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. Your offense doesn't move the ball very well unless you're running it. And if that's not successful, you're going to be like, I mean, I'd be disappointed, of course. I'm not saying I wouldn't be if I was on the Patriots, but, you know, you couldn't expect it to make it that far, right? Right? I mean, getting blown out by Buffalo isn't the best way to go out, but the Golden Sparrow, what's going on, bro? Let's go, Buffalo. Damn right. It is midnight, not even midnight. It's 12:40 a.m. and we're out here having a fantastic time talking about this game. Question for you guys: if you weren't at the game, and you were given the opportunity, say you weren't given the opportunity to go to the game. Obviously, the tickets were extremely cheap, but do you think you would have gone before? Obviously, it's easier to say that you would have gone to the game now, considering we just destroyed them and it was probably the game of everybody's life. But before the game, did you have the opportunity to go? And if you didn't, like, do you wish you did, or did you really enjoy watching it at home? I want to know, because obviously everybody had the opportunity to go to the game because of how cheap the tickets were. But I don't know, man. Like, I was at the game against the Jets a couple weeks ago. Obviously, that's nowhere near the same kind of context. Like, we're talking about a different beast here. But I was so cold. My hands, my poor hands. I have Reynolds. I was also hoping for a 50 burger. I was really, really hoping Mitch Trubisky was going to come out and sling a couple for a 50 burger. What is Reynolds? Does anybody know that like condition where your fingers like have really poor circulation when it gets cold and then they turn like yellow? Well, that's what happens to my fingers. And when that happens, my whole body shuts down. Like, I can't function. So they would have been absolutely crying because they were last week. And it was, I mean, granted, the wind chill last week was a lot worse than it was this week. The wind chill against the Jets made me want to cry inside. But I have whatever I don't know what it's called. It's some like condition, if you will, where your fingers just turn like yellow. And I was at that Jets game and I was crying. Like, my fingers were in so much pain. So I'm like, dude, like, I can't do it again. Like, call me a bitch. I'm weak. I get it. Make fun of me all you want, but I just couldn't do it. When I saw 1 degree as the high, I'm like, there's just no way. There's just no way. I mean, obviously, I didn't think we were going to lose that game. I knew for sure we were going to win the whole time. But in the off chance we lost that game and I sat there, yeah, I mean, if I had the chance, I would go. You never know if you get. I know, Robert. You're right. I'm too much of a bitch. I know. But my God, the thought was so horrible. When I tell you the pain I have when my fingers are cold and then when I warm them up, it is so excruciating. I sound like such a bitch right now, but I just don't care. But you're right, Robert. I mean, maybe next week, maybe if the Chiefs lose, we're going to have another opportunity. Great. The tickets probably won't be $30 this time around because I think people had a good time regardless of the temperature. Robert, oh my God, yeah, you're probably right. I won't say I missed an opportunity because I didn't necessarily have like a free ticket to go. But yeah, I could have, but I can't lie. The comfort of my own couch really was calling my name after the way my body dealt with last week. But wow, that was nuts. That was probably the best. Where do you guys rank this game in Bills history? I'm talking like every single game the Bills played. I think this is up there. This is like a top 3, top 5 game ever. Like in terms of the stats we put up, the performance, the context. I mean, we beat up on a team that has completely just haunted us forever. For 20 years, we were just in the shadow of these damn Patriots. And now this week, we have an opportunity to just let all the anger out. And we do that into the most beautiful and actually most perfect fashion we could. Like, I'm talking, this might be a top 5 Bills game of all time. It's certainly a top offensive performance ever. I mean, this is one of the best offensive performances ever in NFL history. I mean, I think this could be, like, I'm putting this up there with like the 31-3 comeback with Frank Reich. Like, I'm talking that type of game excitement, that kind of just amazing just feeling that Bills fans are getting from this. And I mean, like, you can't replicate this. I mean, oh my God, a win next week would put a cherry on top to everything right now. So let me ask you guys this. Do you think, obviously, we will most likely be playing the Chiefs next week, but assuming the Chiefs ended up being the 1 seed, would you rather have played the Chiefs next week, or would you rather have played the Titans next week? Let me know. Titans or Chiefs? Hypothetically, of course. Obviously, we're going to probably end up playing the Chiefs. Why, hypothetically, who would you rather have played? We got Kurt Warner up in here. Let's go, Kurt. How you doing, Kurt Warner? What a win by the Bills is right. What a win. There's no describing that win. You will not be able to re-describe the feeling that this game has given people that didn't watch or are not alive for this game. Like, this is going to be one of those games in 20 years when our generation, like the generation of myself, has children, and we're like, that was the greatest game ever. Like, it's one of the greatest games in Bills franchise history. What did you think of Tyler Bass? I really didn't think anything bad of him. I think the 2 he missed were chipped to some capacity. They were blocked or something like that. So I wasn't really worried about it. But then that one at the end, I almost think it made it better. But just how well the game was going. And Tyler Bass goes to kick an extra point, and it doinks off the upright. I think that's pretty funny. I thought that was a pretty good way to top off the final touchdown. Patriots suck. Damn right, Kurt Warner. Patriots do suck. KFC chef. Titans. You think Titans, Robert? Oh, man. Oh, boy. I mean, we could end up seeing the Titans in the championship, of course. I just don't know what team I think we have a better chance against. I honestly think we probably have a better chance against the Kansas City Chiefs than the Titans. I really do. Just considering, I don't know, though, because we lost to the Titans on a failed quarterback sneak. I don't know. I don't know how to feel, man. Damn, Patriots cheated. Kurt Warner going crazy in the chat right now. So somebody get Kurt Warner some milk, bro. Wow, I'm just overwhelmed. Rashid, could have said it better myself. Look what I got. I always got it sitting right here. I always got a pack of Mott's applesauce on my desk whenever I'm doing YouTube content. You always got to have your Mott's applesauce on deck. I own the Titans. Kurt Warner. Yeah, Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner, I turned up here, bro. How you doing? Kurt Warner, you said something last year after we beat the Baltimore Ravens in the playoff in the divisional round, and you're like, oh, the weather shouldn't have an impact on games. All games should be played indoors, Kurt Warner. And I'm like, Kurt Warner, shut your ass up. You know what, Kurt Warner? Good teams adapt to the weather. Good teams play in any given conditions. That was my attitude about it. But I remember Kurt Warner was going on a big rage. I was high that day. Is this a bad look for the build a dome people? I mean, I'm one of those people. I think we should build a dome. It would be beneficial for the Buffalo Bills without question. I think that's, pretty much not debatable. But, does this game make you think maybe we actually don't need one? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. It makes me think that we'll be okay without it. Obviously, we would be, but the dome conversation is an interesting one. I mean, the Bills go out in a game where it was 1 degree, and we put up I think this is the most points we put up all season. Build the Mott's Applesauce dome. Mott's Applesauce doesn't even reply to me on Twitter, let alone build a dome for the Buffalo Bills. Screw Mott's Applesauce. They will respond to me one day. Guys, also, quick plug. I am on TikTok as well. I make TikToks occasionally. I'm trying to get my social media outreach as much as possible. You can find me on there, the Caveman YT. If you want to go check out if you're on TikTok. I make some occasionally. Just a quick little plug because I feel like I don't do it enough. The Bills are a force to be reckoned with. The Bills are, honestly, if that team comes to play for the next couple of weeks, we will win the Super Bowl. And that is not even me. I could take this jersey off, take those off the wall, get out of this chair that I'm sitting in. Any Bills bias, I can completely remove it from who I am. I feel like I have an ability to kind of remove my fan perspective from my football perspective. If that team shows up on a weekly basis, coming from a regular football, not Bills fan perspective, we are the best team in the NFL. That right there is what we've been waiting for. That right there is literally the greatest display that we have seen all season. Wow. I mean, we just need to show up. I mean, next week we come out like that. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I'm sorry. Kansas City, Titans, Bengals, it doesn't matter who we'd be playing. If that team shows up, we win. We win. And there's no doubt. That offense could not be stopped. I mean, we played against one of the best defenses in the playoffs right now, and we blew them out of the water. I mean, what's the first Super Bowl you watched? Kurt, are you talking about Bills Super Bowls? Because if you are, I wasn't alive. So the first Super Bowl that I actually watched was probably, if we're talking regular Super Bowls, oh man, I have vague memory of the Packers Super Bowl in 2011. I was 11. I have vague memory of I think whatever year the Steelers or the Colin Kaepernick Super Bowl where the lights went out. I have memory of that Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl I remember, mostly as of late. You ever heard of The Greatest Show on Turf? Yes, Kurt Warner. I have heard of The Greatest Show on Turf. Kurt Warner, you're awesome, bro. How'd you end up here? Oh, boy. But what was shocking, another thing that was shocking to me was, Stephon Diggs, he made a couple plays here and there, but we put up 47 points, and he was damn near a non-factor. Let's check it out. I want to see how many yards Stephon Diggs actually had, the impact that he actually had in this game. Because, I mean, we won that game the way we did. Can you guys hear me? Am I loud enough? My mic thing isn't moving at the bottom. I don't know if I'm loud enough. Let me know if I'm too loud or quiet. If I'm quiet, please let me know. I don't want to be too quiet. Oh wait, Stephon Diggs was our third leading receiver. Really, 3 for 60. I didn't actually know that. A few days ago was the anniversary of the Stephon Diggs. Oh yeah, it was. I remember seeing a couple clips about that. Stephon Diggs, that play was nuts too. I mean, Stephon Diggs he's done miracle work for a couple of teams, and he's done miracle work for us. Yeah, Kurt Warner, we know about your really good team. I actually didn't realize that Stephon Diggs was our leading receiver. I actually had second leading receiver. Thank you, Robert. Here you go. I appreciate it. But yeah, Dawson Knox 5 for 89, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs 3 for 60. Isaiah McKenzie 3 for 45. Isaiah McKenzie 3 for 45. He wasn't out there. He didn't have 6 receptions for 170 yards, or 120 yards. I'm sorry, like he did a couple weeks ago. But I mean, those 3 catches that Isaiah McKenzie had, they were big plays. I mean, that one play, I think it was his first grab, the crossing route over the middle. he went up and he grabbed that. That was not an easy play. Isaiah McKenzie made a couple big plays. Of course, Gabe Davis had a touchdown, 2 for 41 and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders, 2 for 36 and a touchdown. Cole Beasley, 1 for 19. Devin Singletary, 3 for 13. Reggie Gilliam and Tommy Doyle had receptions in this game. Never would have seen that coming. But I mean, Isaiah McKenzie's got wheels, man. I mean, there were a couple plays where Patriots players had the angle on Isaiah McKenzie when he grabbed that ball, and he just cooked. He just burnt. He just fried up the sideline. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie, he was all over. 2 runs for Isaiah, too. Yeah, he got the ball as much as he needed to. I think he needs to be implemented more. I mean, last year in the playoffs, we were really using Isaiah McKenzie a lot before the season or before the postseason. And then we kind of got into the postseason a little bit. I remember thinking in that Colts game specifically, we weren't seeing the Isaiah McKenzie jet sweeps. We weren't seeing the Isaiah McKenzie trickery plays. We weren't seeing as much. And, it was a little weird because, it's a pretty vital part of our offense. I think that creativity and that ability to keep a team on their heels is important. It's imperative. And, I think it's very important that we still involve Isaiah McKenzie and utilize the skill set that he has, because he does bring a different element to this team that I feel like we lack sometimes. We really don't have that many fast guys on our team. I mean, we don't. Josh Allen's fast. We have fast guys, but like really fast. And Isaiah McKenzie, I think, in this game proved it a couple times. He is really fast, really, really fast. So we need to get that guy the ball in space. Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs are elite receivers. 100%. I was not very quick to put Justin Jefferson in the top 10 for wide receivers after last year, but this year he certainly solidified that. I'm glad that it, worked out for the Vikings. I don't really care about the Vikings, truthfully. It is what it is. I think Kirk Cousins is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, but nevertheless, I'm glad Justin Jefferson was able to go out there and do miracle work for the Vikings like Stephon Diggs used to. Oh, boy. But, guys, I thank you guys for stopping in. Like, honestly, there are probably 100,000 Bill shows that you probably could have stopped into tonight talking about this game. And I wasn't even planning. Honestly, like, before the game started, I was like, I probably won't go live tonight after the game. But I thought about it, and I'm like, after this game, you know what? I feel like it. It was too awesome not to. Like, I had to go. I had to go out and talk about it. How can I not? That Micah Hyde interception was insane. Insane. It was the play of the year. Are we putting that Micah Hyde interception at play of the year for the Bills? I think it's up there. Out of all the amazing plays Josh Allen has made, it's pretty tough to top those. But I mean, Micah Hyde, my God, he caught that. He caught it running full speed backwards. He hauled ass from the middle of the field to get back to that ball. And he caught it over the shoulder. Catching a ball over the shoulder. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how impossible it is to catch a ball over the shoulder like that? Like, I know for a fact I struggled. I know I can't catch a ball over my shoulder. I have to turn around and come around to it. He literally dove. It was one of the greatest plays, one of the greatest interceptions I've ever seen. And to say this guy didn't make a Pro Bowl, say no players on our defense made a Pro Bowl. I'm gonna spit on that Pro Bowl shit. The Pro Bowl needs to be abolished, or some fans need their Pro Bowl voting privileges taken. But I swear the Colts lost like 5 games and still won this year. We blew so many leads. Yep. And we played a team in yeah, I mean, JT, I get that, honestly. The Bills had a few games like that this year as well, just not as many, of course. But the first game that comes to my mind when you say that, JT, is that that game that they lost to the Ravens on Monday Night Football. That was the game that John Gruden got fired in the middle of. Yeah. Wow. That was nuts. That was a game where I was very impressed by Lamar Jackson in that game. But at the end of the day, the Colts just kind of collapsed. And that was just one of many games that the Colts kind of blew that really could have put them in the postseason. But I can't lie, as much as I pull for the Colts every chance I get, but they are one less team that the Bills have to worry about. I was terrified. I wanted nothing, just like last year, I wanted nothing to do with the Colts going into the postseason. I mean, like, we got Skins fans up in here, man. What's going on, Carson? I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you for stopping in, and I appreciate the congrats. It was one hell of a victory. I'm glad. Obviously, I'm glad it happened. But thank you for stopping in, Carson. I appreciate it a lot. I hope you guys were a team that I had a lot of hope for heading into the season. The Washington football team. Wow. I made the most fun fact. The most viewed video on my YouTube channel is the game where the video where I talked about the Washington football team being very good this year, how they had so much potential, how they really could be one of the better teams in the NFC, and how they could be in contention for the NFC East title. And that's my most viewed video on my channel. Funny enough, even though this is like a Bills channel, it's pretty much a Buffalo sports channel for the most part. I talk about the NFL, but yeah, fun fact. And obviously the season didn't go as good as it did for them, but it is what it is. They're still a young team. They still got a lot of pieces. Anyway, Carson, well, like I said, I appreciate you stopping in, bro. The Ravens game made me so mad. Yeah, I would have been pretty upset if I was a Colts fan for that Ravens game. Ooh, I mean the Bills, like that Jaguars Bills game. That game was, one that I would say fits that kind of category of games we should have won. But guys, let me know. I also want to know, is Joe Burrow, are Joe Burrow and the Bengals a true threat to the Buffalo Bills? Would you guys, out of these three teams, rank in the comments, out of these three teams, who are you more afraid of? The Bengals, the Chiefs, or the Titans? Let me know. I want to know out of those three teams, what three teams are you, or which of the teams are you more afraid of? Put them in order. I think my order for those three teams that I'm most afraid of, I think I'm most afraid of the Titans. Second would be the Chiefs, and then third would be the Bengals. I don't think I am that afraid of the Bengals. I know a lot of people are very hot on. They're very scared of the Bengals right now. After the way they Raul, man, thank you for stopping in. Raul is a Patriots fan that somehow found their way over to a Buffalo Bills fans channel, but he's an awesome guy, and he's always supporting me. So no hate to Raul, even though he might be a Patriots fan. I love you, Raul, man. You're awesome. Trent, thank you for stopping in, bro. Let's see, what do we got here? One Chiefs. We got Chiefs first. We got the Titans. I agree, Trent. I think you got Titans, Bengals, then Chiefs. Wow. Okay. Chiefs third. We're afraid of the Chiefs. Okay, Trent. One Bengal. I was assuming somebody was going to say Bengals first. Bengals first. KC second. Titans third. Wow. Bengals because they could put up points. I mean, all three of them could put up points. I mean, I think that out of those three teams, I think the Titans are probably the team that could be. Oh man, I don't know. JT, what are you going on about with the Raiders right now, bro? Bengals. Chiefs D still isn't consistent. How many? Yeah, they did get lit up. The Chiefs D did get lit up by the Bengals. The Chiefs did just go. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The Chiefs did get lit up by the Bengals, and granted, the Bengals are a good team, but I mean that was a game where the Chiefs defense needed to pull through. Your offense puts up 31 points. You got to make a play here or there. But you're right. Well, there was something else about. Now I'm a temporary Buccaneers fan. I don't blame you. I mean, I would not want to be hopping over to the team that just kind of doesn't make each other. But Raul, I gotta ask, as a Patriots fan, are you happy with the season that you guys had? I feel like if I was a Patriots fan, hypothetically, I wouldn't be too upset with that season. Truthfully, I don't know. I mean, you have a rookie quarterback. You ran the table for a majority of the middle part of the season. You won a lot of games. You did well. I mean, I really cannot be upset with that type of game or that type of season. I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough way to go down, but can't say there's not a lot of promise. Trent says Chiefs and Bills have the same issue of not winning close games. Better matchup. Yeah, that's fair. I think. Yeah, that's fair, Trent. I agree. I think the Chiefs and the Bills are probably the most similar. I mean, out of the teams that are remaining in the playoffs, I'm losing my train of thought. It's getting to be late. I think the Chiefs and the Bills are the most similar. And that's a good thing. I think the Chiefs, which is whack, which is crazy to say because last year it was the opposite. I think the Chiefs and Bills do the same thing, but Josh Allen and the Bills do what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do just a little bit better. And last year was the complete opposite, where the Chiefs and the Bills were pretty similar, but the Chiefs did it better. But now I think it's the other way around. Now I think the Bills are in the position that the Chiefs were last year, just based on how that game went. We had another question. Carson says, is Josh Allen a top 5 quarter? 100%. 100%. I think this game solidifies it, right? I think if you're putting Josh Allen outside of your top 5 right now, I think you're a little bit in denial. I mean, he just 5 touchdowns, led an offense that played an actual perfect game. I mean, it's kind of hard to put him outside the top 5. I would go right now, as we speak. Justin, what's going on, bro? Top 5 quarterbacks right now would probably go. I think I'm still putting Mahomes first. Hate me or not, Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen, honestly, Josh Allen. I mean, I would put Tom Brady in the top 5. Brady, I don't know. I'm not confident about that. I need to see a list. I mean, I would argue that Josh Allen's a top 3 quarterback after something like that. Rodgers over Mahomes. I know a lot of people probably think that. I feel like I'm in the minority when I say Mahomes over Rodgers, but I don't know. There's just this thing with Aaron Rodgers. Let's say, hypothetically, if the Chiefs make it farther in the playoffs than the Packers do, what's the argument then? Obviously, there's more to it than just quarterback play, but we got Carson, Mahomes in first. Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Allen, Herbert. Well, we got Herbert in the top 5. I don't hate it. I think he's definitely solidified himself as a top 10, easily. Tom is like 5. I think I'd probably put Tom 5 as well. It's just tough. Like, I'm so on the fence about how to rank Brady because, I of course acknowledge his greatness and everything, but at the same time, at this age, I don't think he's doing what he's doing without the team he's had surrounding him. So I don't know. I think Brady at 5 is fitting. I like that. Who wins MVP? Who deserves MVP? I feel like you need to. That's how I feel, Trent. Like, you need to consider the team around them. The way I like to think about it is putting other quarterbacks in other quarterback shoes. So if you were to put Tom Brady in, let's say, Josh Allen's shoes, if we put Tom Brady on the Bills right now, which is a disgusting thing to think, would he be anywhere as successful? I don't think there's a chance in hell. Yes, JT for MVP. I completely agree. Either JT or Cooper Kupp. I don't think any quarterback deserves it this year, even though I think Robert says it. Robert said it. I think Rodgers is going to win. I think he will win back-to-back MVPs, but I think either Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor deserve it. I hate that it's such a QB strict award. But what was I going to say? But yeah, if you put Tom Brady on the Buffalo Bills this season, I'm sorry, but he struggles. He shits himself. He probably retires after this year. There's just no way. I think Brady would do all right. We have a number 1 defense. Yeah, I think we'd be all right. But I mean, when you put into retrospect how much Josh Allen does for this team, and the pressure he suffered all year, as we all know, especially at the age of 40 gazillion years old, when Tom Brady has a pass rusher screaming in his face every other play, he's not going to be effective. He's not going to be efficient. He will crumble. He'll get upset. He'll get in his own head. And when your run game isn't able to do anything to make up for it, I mean, like I said, you got to consider, Trent, you said it, you got to consider the team around him. Tom Brady has one of the best rosters surrounding him. If he came here, it would be a whole different story. I would even argue that if, this is a little bit of a stretch, but if Patrick Mahomes came here, he wouldn't struggle, but he wouldn't do anywhere near as well as Josh Allen is doing here. Josh Allen is the sole reason why this offense moves the way it does. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think Josh should win MVP. Unfortunately, the playoffs don't factor into it, Golden, but I would make a big case for it as well. Jack, what's going on, bro? Nice to see you in the chat. They took off this game on. Yeah, literally. Oh my God, massacre. Massacre is a very fitting word. It was just you need to put a rated R symbol on this whenever you're going to rewatch it, because that was violent. That was a murder scene. That was horrible. Carson says, I agree. A lot of your offense is off script about, yeah, that's because of Josh. Absolutely. I mean, Tom Brady's not running quarterback sweep. Tom Brady isn't running quarterback draw. Tom Brady isn't going to be responsible for 25% of your rushing production on the season. Tom Brady's not doing that. Patrick Mahomes isn't doing that. Aaron Rodgers isn't doing that. So we happen to have a quarterback that is capable of carrying that workload. As great as those other top quarterbacks are, they're not doing that here. They're not. They wouldn't be able to handle that pressure. There have been games time and time again where Josh Allen has also crumbled under said pressure. But he's made up for a lot of it. Justin asked a very important question. Oh, God, there's a bot in the chat. Where's Mott's? Rashid asked that earlier, Justin. What the hell is this bot? I need to get a moderator. Put user in time, hide user on this. Just hide user. Okay, good job. Here's Mott's, Justin. Don't worry. It's always by my side, Justin. Don't worry. What else do we got? Oh my God, this bot is spamming the chat. Win or not, the Bills are the most dangerous team in the NFL. I agree. I mean, if they play like that, we were talking about it earlier, Jack. If the Bills came out and play like that for the rest of the postseason, we will not lose. And I don't think it'll be close. I don't think a single game we'll play will be close if that's the type of game we're going to play. And like I said, I will remove this Bills jersey. I would take those jerseys off the wall. Anything Bills related, I will get rid of from my room and talk from a strict Bills perspective. That was one of the greatest performances on offense, specifically, of all time. You can't beat it. Trent said something I want to touch. Not to be cynical, I don't think Josh can take 20 for. Yeah. Is there a way I can put chat on the screen here? No, I can't. But Trent. But you're right. Trent says, not to be cynical, I don't think Josh can take 25% of our rushing game forever. 100%. I agree completely. I mean, he's going to get to an age where he's not going to be able to do that anymore. And that's where hopefully the offensive line is put together and that we have a Devin Singletary or, whoever else it might be to take that load off of their back. Hopefully that happens eventually. I mean, we've seen the Devin Singletary breakout over the last 5 weeks now. So hopefully it's already starting to begin, because we shouldn't have to run Josh Allen like that. We should be able to run Josh Allen on plays like that because we want to, because we're able to have that flexibility in our offense and we're able to be creative and dominant in that fashion. But it's been the story of our season where Josh Allen has had to do that. That is how we've been able to move the ball on offense, and that is how our offense works. We don't want that to be like that anymore. So, Trent, you're completely right. I don't think that's cynical at all. He cannot be 25% of our rushing game forever. He just can't. And Justin just says, yeah, Singletary looking like a beast, 100%. Singletary just needed the opportunity. I mean, this is one of those things. I have been wrong about a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong. But I've been preaching to the Devin Singletary choir for as long as I can remember. I mean, before this season specifically, everybody was having the debate. Oh, Zach Moss or Devin Singletary, who should be the number one? Yada, yada, yada. All I said time and time again was he just needs an opportunity. Devin Singletary was going to be an 1,000-yard rusher his rookie season had he not gotten hurt. I mean, how does that not show you that if he's just the number one guy, he'll produce? Crazy. It's crazy what happens when you give guys the opportunity. Josh is Robert coming in with another hot stat. Josh is the first quarterback with over 4,000 passing yards and over 650 run. Yep, another crazy stat. I'm literally tomorrow morning, I'm literally just gonna put together a video of a bunch of just stupid stats and a bunch of stupid statistics that were just in history that was made in this game, and just put it all in one video. Just screenshot after screenshot after screenshot. It's gonna be like a 3-minute video of all the stats and shit that we broke in tonight's game. And it's just going to be like a 3-minute video of just admiring how good it was. Because I don't even know what else I could say. I mean, especially now that I'm on live, I don't even know what else I could say about this game. Ryan, what's going on, bro? Nice to see you in the chat. Totally effing dominated the Pats. Was glorious to see. Who you think the Bills play next week? You have to think the Chiefs, right? Unless some absolutely bonkers shit goes down, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. Don't get me wrong. I do think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm not going to make an egregious statement that they're going to lose. But if the Chiefs have offensive line struggles, which they have run into this season, if Tyreek Hill is not healthy, and TJ Watt and that defensive line for the Chiefs and that defense in general plays their A game, it will be a lot closer than people are predicting. The last I checked, the Bills or the Steelers Chiefs line was, I think the Chiefs were minus 12.5. They were 12.5 point favorites. That will not cover. I'm calling that right now. That is my thought. I think this game is going to be close, especially if TJ Watt is on his game. So I'm going to say the Chiefs. So that's my answer to that, Ryan. Jack says Micah Hyde did everything but sell their chicken. Micah Hyde played one hell of a game. He made sure that people, I'm so glad that we have such a great safety tandem. But I feel like this season, Micah Hyde's been kind of left in the dust. Like, people really haven't been talking about him as much because of how well Jordan Poyer's been playing. And that's fine. Like, I'm glad Jordan Poyer's getting the recognition he absolutely deserves. But Micah Hyde has been so good too. And people just, I feel like he's not getting that type of recognition that he has in the past. So I think he deserves it. Carson says, my preseason pick was Bills versus Rams in the Super Bowl. Maybe it'll happen. I like it. I'm always big on the Rams going to the season. I hope that they're able to, again, with this damn bot. Can I ban a bot? Hide user. Okay, that's annoying. I lost my train of thought again. But yeah, Carson, I like that preseason pick a lot because I was high on the Rams, but I wasn't high on the Bills. Truthfully, like, going into the season, I didn't think we were going to make the Super Bowl. I think the possibility is humongous now, but going into the season, I really didn't like the year we had in the offseason. I didn't feel like we did enough, blah, blah, blah. I did all my ranting, but I didn't think, we were going to do it. But now, obviously, my mind is taking a complete 180 here. But yeah, I like that pick a lot, Carson. It's definitely looking to be good right now. Justin says we play Bengals or Chiefs. Yeah, we're probably going to play the Chiefs, right? Dawson Knox Most Improved Award this season. I think it's between. All right. There's a lot I want to address here. Justin says Dawson Knox Most Improved Award this season. Justin, I will address that in just a second. Good Neighbor Sports, what's going on, bro? I'm glad to see you in here. Addison injuring his shoulder isn't good, but that and some missed extra points was the only negative from the day. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's there's really not much you could take from this game that was negative. And I also think those missed extra points were chipped or blocked, but something was wrong with them where Tyler Bass didn't just straight up miss them. So I wouldn't even say that was a negative. I think just a couple fluke blocks. But Addison getting hurt definitely isn't helpful. That could be problematic. There were a couple plays where, I mean, I guess if I really, really, really want to nitpick, the only negative, and I'm not even complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out one singular small negative that happened in this game, were the couple plays early on defense where we somehow let Mac Jones get outside of the pocket when we were letting it collapse on him, and he ducked away from our pressure, and we weren't able to get Mac Jones on the ground. That pissed me off. That drove me up a wall. I was like, are you joking? Are you joking? We literally let McCorkle, Tom Brady 2.0 get away from our pass rush like that and run for 15 yards. That pissed me off. I can't lie. But otherwise, like I said, I'm not complaining. That is the only negative, and the Addison injury, of course, that I would take from this game. And I wouldn't even call it a negative. It's just a couple of plays that pissed me off because we got to him otherwise. Robert said Juju is playing. That is also true. Going back on the Steelers-Chiefs game, he is also playing. I don't know how much of an impact he'll have because I think he's kind of, I don't want to say lost his job there, but he certainly is going to make the same type of impact. Dane Jackson really underrated. Dane Jackson, all those guys in the secondary, Dane Jackson, Levi Wallace, Teron Johnson, they've all been humongous X factors for us. And going down, losing Trey White was huge, but I don't want to be sounding like an ass or anything, but we really haven't missed a step in the secondary. They've been very solid. I mean, our secondary's been very good. It's almost like he isn't actually gone. Of course, he makes those extra few plays that we probably wouldn't get with anybody else there. But, the secondary's been playing very well, and I guess that's my point there. Is Addison okay? Honestly, I'm not sure. I know it was a shoulder injury, but yeah, I'm not sure the status on Addison. I'm sure we'll hear something in the morning. Jack says Ellen wants Rodgers or Brady to get out of their shadows. Yep, you need to be the best. I agree. I agree, Jack. And we have an opportunity to do that. I think the only three guys that we have a chance of seeing in the Super Bowl, if we make it, are Rodgers, Brady, or Matthew Stafford. Those are the three guys that I think we would have an opportunity to play. But I mean, our opportunity to play Allen or Rodgers or Brady is pretty high, assuming we make it that far, of course. Carson says, "Who do you think wins the Niners Cowboys game tomorrow?" I got Dallas in a close one. I'm going to take the Niners, actually. That was the only upset I took this weekend when I did my picks. I like the Niners in that game. I think the Niners are a better team than the Cowboys all around. I think the way they play football, I think the way that the Niners play football are, it's almost flaw. What's the? I always look. I need a word for this. It's, oh man. It's foolproof. Foolproof. Foll. Or no, I can't spell. Oh my god. Foolproof. Foolproof. Like, if the Niners are able to run the ball and they're able to play that ground and pound style and establish that play action, the Dallas Cowboys, especially with that secondary, will not be able to stand a chance. So yeah, I got the Niners on that note. I don't know. And the Dallas Cowboys could easily win this game. The X factor is Jimmy Garoppolo, right? If Jimmy Garoppolo shows up and he's able to make those few passes, on those play action, he's able to play competent quarterback, then I think they win hands down. If Jimmy Garoppolo goes out there and plays like Jimmy Garoppolo does 3 out of 4 times, then the 49ers lose. The X factor is Jimmy Garoppolo in that game and how he performs. But I think he's going to show up this weekend, and I think the Niners are going to win. That's my upset pick for the weekend. Good neighbor sport. Like the stream if you haven't yet. I appreciate you. You are a good neighbor. You are a fantastic neighbor. I appreciate you, Good Neighbor Sports. Justin says, I don't think Kyler can make it. I think they are 100%. I don't know if you were asking or if you were just stating. But yeah, I don't think Kyler's making it. I don't think the Cardinals have what it takes. You lose the last 6 games, the Arizona Cardinals have won 2 and lost 4. 2 and 4. 2 and 4 in the last 6 games. The Arizona Cardinals were the last undefeated team remaining in the entire NFL halfway through the season. They went 2 and 4 in the last stretch. That's not a good way to go into the postseason, not to mention they lost to the Seattle Seahawks in the final week of football. And they're going up against the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card. I mean, it's just not a good draw. I mean, especially, I think the biggest issue for the Cardinals right now, I don't quote me on this, because I don't really know. I don't pay attention to the Cardinals on a week-to-week basis like crazy or anything. But I think they've had offensive line issues, right? And Kyler Murray hasn't been able to get away from the pressure. And I think the pressure is, altering the way he plays quarterback. And going up against the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round with a struggling offensive line, after you've lost 4 of the last 6 games, it's not a good draw. I think the Arizona Cardinals had their little run there, but that's as good as it's going to get for them this season. Ryan, I'm a Life for 49ers fan. I'm also it's awesome to see how you made your way over here. It's really cool. I really find it awesome. My favorite thing about doing this is just seeing where, who I can communicate with and getting to have conversation with people that are, not just Bills fans. Of course, I love all my Bills fans that support me, and I love all Bills fans. I love them all. But it's really cool to see the reach that this channel can bring and who I can talk to. And if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have anybody to talk to. But it's really cool to see fans of other teams coming in here, showing support, and we can have good football conversation. So I want to thank you guys for popping in. So it's awesome to see, Ryan, Lifer 49ers fan. That's awesome. And I do think your team is going to win this weekend. If Jimmy Garoppolo just got to play good, it's just about Jimmy G. I view the way the 49ers play football very similarly to how the Colts played football. Obviously, when they were still in commission. Sorry, Colts fans. All Carson Wentz had to do was play halfway competent. That's all he had to do. And he wasn't able to do that, and that was their downfall. It's the same thing with the 49ers. All Jimmy G has to do is play competent ball. He just cannot make those huge mistakes. He just has to play safe. He just has to be ready, prepared. He has to hit the play actions. He has to hit the crossers. He's got to take what he's given. He's got to use George Kittle. George Kittle has not been involved enough for my liking, if I'm a 49ers fan. Ryan, I don't know if you have a take on this, but I feel like George Kittle has not been involved nearly enough. And if they want to be successful down the stretch, he needs to get involved a lot more. So George Kittle, I think, will have a big breakout week this week as well. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go back to who he trusts the most here. And he says, my good buddy is a diehard Bills fan and made me a fan. That's awesome, man. It's hard not to be a Bills fan right now. It really is. Robert says, Ryan B, I really hope they win tomorrow. I agree. I don't think does anybody like Dallas? I mean, I don't not like Dallas. I like Dak Prescott a lot. I really do. I think he's a really kind-hearted man. And he deserves a lot. I just wish he didn't play for Dallas. Good Neighbor Sports. I was in the 300s today. Good Neighbor Sports. True trooper. Absolute trooper right here. Good Neighbor Sports is a trooper in the 300s. Had some Pats fans in front of me. After a while, they gave up and just started partying with us. Cool guys, actually, but suck it. Wow, that's awesome, man. True, you're an absolute trooper, man. I guess since the tickets were so cheap, I kind of talked about this earlier. Since the tickets were so cheap, I guess, I had an opportunity to go to the game. But I went to that Jets game last week and, call me a bitch in the comments all you want. Make fun of me as much as you want. The cold takes a toll on me mentally, man. It hurts physically. It's brutal. Oh my God. I can't. Sometimes I can't do it. So I'm really sitting there I get it's a different beast here. We're talking about a playoff game against the New England Patriots. I'm like, dude, it's really hard. I want to go, but it's the comfort of my couch is calling my name right now. And, ultimately I'm here doing a live stream. So, of course, I wasn't at the game because I've been on live for an hour. There's no way I would have been able to go. But everybody at that game, absolute troopers. Awesome to hear. Sif, what's going on, Sif? Are you a Bills fan? Everybody, if you're in the chat, please leave. If you're in the live stream, please say something in the chat. Tell me who you're a fan of. Let me know your thoughts. Anything. I want to have conversation. I came on this live stream with absolutely zero plan of what I was going to talk about beside for the Bills game and just give you a couple of my thoughts. But my favorite thing to do is talk about the thoughts that you guys have. So if you have anything you want to say, just want to say hi. If you're a fan of a team, let me know. Good morning this morning. Order 60. John Cooker, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't know what in God's name you're talking about, bro. Sif says 49ers 27, Cowboys 21. I like that. We have the Cowboys at minus 3.5 right now. Obviously, if I'm gonna take the 49ers, I'm taking them plus 3.5, right? I like that. I think the Bills minus 4.5 was completely disrespectful. I cannot believe the Bills were only minus 4.5. Granted, I didn't think we were gonna beat them by 37 or whatever, 30 points. But still, we were going to win by at least a touchdown. If we're going to win that game, it was going to be by at least a touchdown. So that was weird. What do we got tomorrow? Robert, it's all good, man. I know I'm a little bit of a weenie when it comes to the cold. Kyle, what's going on, Kyle? Nice to see you in the chat, bro. I want Cowboys to win. Would be a perfect revenge game for a Super Bowl for us. I think there's a lot of different, maybe not a lot, but there are a couple different possibilities that could result in a revenge game for the Buffalo Bills. Of course, a revenge game. We had a revenge game this weekend, yesterday, today, whatever you want to call it, against the Patriots. We let out all of our anger out against the Patriots. That's one revenge game. Next week, assuming we play the Chiefs, that's a revenge game for the AFC Championship. And then the next week, I guess, assuming the Titans make it, of course, that could be a revenge game for the Music City Miracle. It could be a revenge game for the loss against the loss against them last week. Last week. I'm losing my train of thought, guys. It's 1:26 in the morning. I'm losing it. This could be a revenge game against the Titans for the Music City Miracle. It could be a revenge game for how we lost to them earlier in the season. So we could have 3 potential revenge games just in the conference alone. And then maybe we make it all the way. We could play Brady. That's, of course, a revenge game for unspoken reasons. Or we could play against the Cowboys who was it that said it? Kyle said it. We have a lot of, what's the word? We have a lot we can do. We have a lot of, somebody give me the phrase that I'm looking for. I'm struggling, man. I'm really struggling. Anyway, a lot of revenge games could be coming up in the future, and that's really cool to think about. Sif says, I'm a Bills/Knicks fan from New York City. I'd rather the Bills win 1 Super Bowl than Knicks win 10 championships. Sounds like you're a pretty solid Bills fan. I'm not a huge basketball fan just because, of course, we have nobody here in Buffalo, but I kind of just bet on basketball, so I'm a basketball fan in that sense. But Sounds like you're a huge Bills fan, Sif, and that's awesome to hear. Good Neighbor Sports, does Shaq join the squad now? If it all depends on the Addison injury, right? I'm assuming that's why you're asking that. But I'm not sure how serious the Shaq or the Addison injury is. If it's something serious that will keep him out for some time, then yeah, I would think that Shaq has a very large possibility of hopping on with us, because as we all know, the Bills really like that defensive line rotation. So if they're going to want to continue that rotation, we're going to need healthy guys. And if Addison's going to miss any time, then Shaq Lawson could be working his way over back into a Bills jersey, of course. Juice Jones says, Juice, did you change your name? Are you the Juice that you're juiced up, right? You got to be, right? Juice with the, yeah, you're juiced. What am I asking? Mike, what do you think the Colts should do at quarterback? Oh man, it's so hard. I think the Colts are in a very interesting position. They're a team that you could classify just needing a quarterback to be complete. But at the same time, I don't know how willing I would be to kind of sell the house for a top tier quarterback, because the Colts are in a position right now where I really don't feel like they can bring a young kid in and develop them and wait for those few years for that young kid to become a good quarterback, assuming Juice Zone and Juiced Up 13 are two different people. Really? Okay. I learn something new every day. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for telling me that, because I honestly probably wouldn't know. Sif, I didn't even see this comment, bro. Great content, Caveman. Thank you, Sif. I appreciate you, man. So back on the point. What do the Colts should do at QB? I don't think the Colts have enough time to wait for a young kid to come in and develop and become the quarterback of the future. But I also don't know if the Colts have enough capital, if they're able to really sell the house for a top tier quarterback like a Russell Wilson, maybe even like a Deshaun Watson. I don't know if they have that. And so that really puts you in a tough spot. So Chris Ballard has a tough decision at hand, right? Are you going to be willing to sell the house for one of these top tier quarterbacks that could be on the market? Or do you kind of run it cheap again, and do you hope Carson Wentz turns a corner? But like I said, I don't think drafting a kid and hoping he comes around is really an option. So it's really Carson Wentz, or you sell the crib for a top tier quarterback. I can't lie. I think I'd probably stick with. Oh man, that's a really tough decision, Juiced. I'm struggling. Oh boy. Oh my God. I think you sell the crib. If yeah, Kyle said it. There's always Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I'm assuming he clears everything. If Deshaun Watson clears everything, he gets his name cleared. He's able to play football. You give up. I would give up three first rounders and maybe a couple key prospects for a guy like Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson also. I think I would do it. To answer your question, Juiced, I'm going to say yes. You go out. At the end of the day, the goal is to win championships. I love the mentality that the Rams came into this year with and that they carried with throughout the year. Your goal is to win championships. You might as well sell out for it. All right. I understand the thought process of building for the future, being ready for the future. I understand that. But at the end of the day, that future, the goal of that future is to win a Super Bowl. So why wouldn't you do everything you can to try and win that Super Bowl in the best window of time that you can, if that makes sense? So to answer your question, Juiced, yes, I think you sell the crib. You try to find that top tier quarterback. Carson Wentz obviously didn't really prove to be that guy this year. So there's your answer. Crazy Kill, what's going on, bro? Awesome to see you in the chat, man. 7 possessions, 7 touchdowns. Yeah, great. One of the greatest, if not the greatest offensive performance of all time. Rashid says, Bills Cowboys in the Super Bowl, 90s clash again. Yep, we were talking about that earlier, how we can have revenge game after revenge game after revenge game. It really could be crazy coming up. But I think we have a much better chance of making the big game than the Cowboys do. I can't lie. Carson says, so do the Bills own this division now? How many AFC East titles in a row? I believe somebody did answer. Kyle says 2 AFC East titles in a row. Yes, 2 AFC East titles straight. I think it's our division. I think the Patriots certainly do have a brighter future than people want to give them credit for. I'm all for shitting on the New England Patriots every chance I get. But at the end of the day, I was kind of impressed with the year they had. They had a good year. I mean, to lose the way they did was tough, but I mean, we are a powerhouse. Josh Allen is a freak unicorn quarterback, and they just felt the wrath of him. So, I am still going to be afraid of the Patriots for the next couple of years. Not afraid, that's the wrong word. I'll be weary. I'll be on the lookout. I don't think there'll always be an easy matchup like they were today. I think a couple of years down the road, once Mac Jones really develops and they really surround him with a better roster, I think the Patriots could be a threat again. But I think this will be our division for years to come. For as long as Josh Allen's a Buffalo Bill, I think this will be our division. To answer your question, Carson. Ryan says, Wentz is completely broken. Cut him. I agree. I think after this year, you got to get rid of him. Juice says that would be awesome to get Watson. I mean, assuming he clears his name, I think a lot of people would be very happy to get Deshaun Watson. Sif says, Colts should consider Jimmy G. He can probably be had for a second and a fifth. I'll bite the Colts and have a pick to the third round. Yeah, that's what I was kind of hinting toward. The Colts really don't have the capital necessarily to go and make that move. They would really have to sell out for the future to go and make that move. So it's tough. The Colts are in a really, really tough spot. So Chris Ballard has a tough decision to make, and he's a great GM. So I think I would trust him to go and make that correct decision, but it's going to be tough. Crazy Killer says, I hope the Steelers upset the Chiefs. That would be, oh boy, that would be a miserable loss for the Chiefs. What would be a bigger upset? What would be a bigger upset? The Steelers beating the Chiefs in the wild card round or the Jags beating the Colts in that last game? What would be a bigger upset? Like, honest to God. I don't know. I think if the Steelers beat the Chiefs, that would be a massive upset. Like, we're talking like upset that nobody could have seen coming. Granted, nobody could have seen the Colts losing either, but the Steelers the Steelers beating the Chiefs, that would be crazy. Kenny, what are you doing, bro? Texans are better. Get the hell out of my chat with that Texans shit. Watson being in the same division, cool. Yeah, really. Juice says we're a very talented team with a lot of Pro Bowlers, all pros, top running back, a top line, top defense. All we need is another receiver, another good defensive lineman, and a quarterback. Yep, you guys are right there. And that's kind of why, Juice. That's kind of why I say, like, you guys really don't have the time to be going and looking for a young quarterback and developing him for a couple of years. You just don't got that time. You guys have a good team right now. You got to take advantage of it. And that's why I feel like I would try and go and find that top tier guy. Mr. Diggs, what's going on, bro? Good to see you in here. Caveman Ding Dong, that's the witch is dead. It feels so good. A monkey off our back. It feels amazing. Kyle says the Steelers would be the bigger upset. I think I might agree. Juice says the Jags game sucked. Yeah. I wasn't able to watch it. I mentioned it. I was at the Jets game, so I wasn't able to watch anything else. But I could not believe what I was witnessing on my phone. Jags is the better upset. I think it's pretty close. Steelers based on betting odds. Yeah, I mean, boy, the Steelers beating the Chiefs in this spot. Who would ever think? But like I said earlier, Chiefs have offensive line struggles this year. Tyreek Hill's not healthy. If TJ Watt, that defensive line and that Steelers defense come with their A game, it's going to be closer than people want to admit, honestly. Justin says Deshaun to the Colts. Steelers based on betting. Carson says, yes, that would be the bigger upset, I believe. The Steelers offense is so bad. It's crazy they are a playoff team. The Steelers might be the luckiest team in the NFL this year. Who's the luckiest team in the NFL? Honestly, it's got to be the Steelers. I mean, they got in after a absolutely ridiculous upset with the Jags over the Colts. And then they needed the Raiders and the Chargers not to tie, which seemed feasible before the game. But then it's going down to the final couple seconds in overtime. It looks like they're about to tie, and Brandon Staley bails their asses out with that awful timeout, and the Raiders win the game. I mean, the Steelers, they got lucky. They got stupid lucky down the stretch here. So, I'm not saying they don't deserve it, because anybody that made it, you did something right. But my good golly, Miss Molly, was that just a ridiculous stroke of luck in Week 18 for the Patriots or for the Steelers. Justin says, did you see that Big Ben vid about having fun at the game? Yes, I did. That was I don't know if that was funny. I think he was completely being sarcastic just because he knows that's what he's been hearing all week. But I don't know. Like, he didn't really give off a complete sarcastic vibe either. Like, I'm just gonna say he was probably being sarcastic, because what in God's name would compel somebody to say that? but he really didn't give off enough of a vibe that he was, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. It was sarcasm, Kyle. I completely agree. Watts needs to go to a city with ugly masseuses. Should we even be joking about that? Is that something to joke about? I don't know, but that was funny. Mr. Diggs says Bills beat KC, Bengals beat Titans, Bills beat Bengals, and Buffalo for AFC Championship. Interesting. I don't think the Bengals beat the Titans. Do the Bengals beat the Titans? Let me know. In that hypothetical matchup, I want to know. I agree, Kyle. Chargers should not have called that timeout. Yeah, I don't think the Chargers or the Bengals beat the Titans. I just don't. What else do we got? Juice says Watson, Allen Robinson, some other good receiver, and Akeem Hicks would be great. Would be a great offseason. Yeah, it would. Allen Robinson has got to get his ass out of there. I mean, he is, in my opinion, a top 10 talented wide receiver. He obviously didn't have the production this year to back that up, but I do think he's a top 10 talent. He just needs somebody that can toss him the ball. Kyle says would be a good matchup. Titans are in a good 1 seed. Hopefully Henry is coming back, Justin. Robert says Bengals win. Wow. All depends on Henry being Henry. I am a sucker for teams that depend on the run. I am. I'm a sucker for them because I feel like it is very it's a solid way to play football. If you find yourself behind in a game, of course, depending on your run game isn't necessarily the best route. But I mean, I just feel like to beat some of the best teams, being able to have a solid run game that can chew out clock, that can keep opposing offenses off the field, and when you can run at will, I just feel like it's so hard not to like that kind of football. So when I see a team like the Titans on my schedule, on the Bills' schedule, I get afraid of that because the less time Josh Allen's on the field, the more time Derrick Henry's just plowing through our defense, the more I get worried. So I don't know. I really – somebody who just said it. Drew said, remember Eric Ebron? We made him look like a superstar. Imagine if we got Allen Robinson. Yeah, I know. Eric Ebron went from being a pretty solid tight end for the Colts suddenly being like the third stringer with the Steelers. Granted, he had surgery or something, so he's been out for the year, but still. Titans lost to the Ravens last year, though, when the run got stopped. Yeah, you're right. Man, who said it, though? I just read it somewhere. Oh, Kyle said it would be a good matchup, but the Titans aren't a good 1 seed. Is that an agreeable statement? Are the Titans a good 1 seed? Because, to be fair, they deserved – they fought their way to get it. I mean, they smoked the Chiefs. They beat us on a stroke of luck by Josh Allen slipping, of course, but they still beat us. I'm trying to see what other games they played this year that were good. I mean, the games they lost this year were games they would not lose in the postseason. Where is it? So they lost to the Cardinals early on. That's fair. So they're 0-1 to start the season. We're talking about the Titans, of course. Then they win against the Seahawks to go to 1-1. Then they beat the Colts. That's 2-1. Then they lose to the Jets. That was the first game they shouldn't have lost. Then they beat the Bills. So they beat the Bills. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Colts twice. Beating the Colts twice is not easy. I don't care if they're a playoff team or not. Beating the Colts twice is not easy. They beat the Rams. Beat the Titans, who are 9-8 this year. Smoked by the Patriots. Lost to the Steelers. What a weird team. What a weird team the Titans are. What a weird team. But they also had that comeback win against the 49ers when the 49ers were playing very good football. But the Titans beat the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Bills. Beat the Colts twice. That's 5 victories of probably their 5 toughest games all year. But lost to the Texans. Lost to the Jets. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So does that qualify them as a good 1 seed? I guess that's for you to be the judge, but it's a really interesting debate. Carson says something that I'm going to agree with here. I'm sorry, Caveman, but Cole Beasley should not have gotten second-team All-Pro over Terry McLaurin. To be honest with you, I didn't even know Cole Beasley made second-team All-Pro. But I agree. Terry McLaurin is, unfortunately, one of those guys that are stuck in a situation where he's not able to flourish to his best ability. Terry McLaurin, if he was somewhere else, Or if the Washington football team found, a more efficient quarterback, Terry McLaurin would be a dominant wide receiver. I think he could be just as good as a guy like Justin Jefferson. I really, 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 really like Terry McLaurin. He just needs some help getting the ball to him. But yeah, I agree, Carson. Don't worry, you're not. You don't have to apologize. Kyle said they lost to the Jets with Henry. They did, but they also were missing like every defensive player, and they had like no offensive linemen. So Drew says the Titans-Bills game could have went either way. The Titans lost it. Yes. I don't know, though. They did it without the midseason MVP. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard conversation because there's a lot of talented teams in the AFC, but I got to ask you this, though. With the teams that made the playoffs in the AFC, I don't think the best AFC teams did make the playoffs. I think the best AFC teams making the playoffs would have been the Chiefs, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Patriots, and the Colts and the Chargers. I really think those should have been the 7 playoff teams. I don't think the Raiders are a top 7 AFC team, even though they made it. I don't think the Steelers are a top 7 AFC team. It just was a crazy year. Obviously, of course, those teams didn't make it, so I can't really make that conversation happen. But, I think the teams in the AFC right now, the AFC playoffs, kind of got lucked out by some of the other very good talent not making the postseason. We got more of the chat. DJ, what's going on, bro? Nice to see you up in here. Big win is freaking right. Huge win. Big is replace big with enormous. There is no word to put emphasis on what kind of win that was. Juice says, yo, Mike, have you heard of Paris Campbell? I have. Yes. Yep, we drafted in 2019. He was drafted before DK and McLaurin. Yeah. That's all right. You're not going to hit with every pick. That's a tough one to hear. I actually didn't know Paris Campbell was drafted before those two guys. But, hasn't Paris Campbell been injury-riddled, though? If I'm not mistaken, Juice. I think he has been. Not that that's an excuse, but either way. Justin says we should have won the Titans game. They held when Henry. Yes, they did. Jordan Poyer got held by Nick Ikiti Westbrook. He got dragged down, and Derrick Henry hit a hole, and somehow with his 250-pound frame is able to hit 23 miles per hour and beat every other player on the field. Yeah. Kyle says if Bengals play the Titans the way they played KC, Bengals win. I agree. It's just a matter of if that team shows out. I would almost argue that, the Bengals played well today, and sure they deserve to win, but I don't think they beat a better team, honestly, than the Raiders. Like the Raiders, they try their hearts out. Like the Raiders are, they're obviously a hardworking team, and they didn't make it to where they were based off of their talent. They made it to where they were because of the hard work and teamwork that they put in. Especially considering how much they went through. So, the Bengals won, and they deserved it and all, but I don't think they win that game against a better team. As much as the Raiders hurt themselves, they were horrible in the red zone. They took flag after flag, penalty after penalty. Peyton Barber held a kickoff on the 2-yard line and completely ruined a drive for the Raiders. The Raiders put up a fight, and of course I knew they were going to. But at the same time, how the Bengals didn't win by more than a touchdown is kind of crazy, just considering how much went against the Raiders. And that touchdown, the whistle went. Did you guys see that? You guys had to have seen that, where the penalty. God, I'm losing my train of thought again. Joe Burrow was rolling out right, and he threw the ball. He wasn't out, and then Tyler Boyd went to catch it, and they blew the whistle mid-throw, and then they gave them the touchdown anyway. If that doesn't happen, in theory, we have a tie game, and that game's going overtime. Of course, things probably would have gone differently, but, did the Bengals really play that well today? Yes, but no. Hard to, I don't know. Just tough. If Bengals play the Titans the way they play, Robert says is the way that was it, or even choking. Bills outplayed. Yep, Bills outplayed the Jets, or Bills outplayed the Pats. We murdered the Pats. That was more than outplaying. That was personal. Chargers would have made the playoffs if timeout wasn't called. Yep, both teams have a playoff experience today. Yep, Agreed. Raiders are a hardworking team. Agreed. Bengals will beat the Titans. We were just having this conversation, DJ. I think the Titans beat the Bengals. I seem to be in the minority here about that one. Juice says, I don't know what I prefer, getting blown out or blowing a lead. I think I'd rather get blown out, to be honest. I mean, you blow a lead and you lose. That's a tough way. I mean, if you're getting blown out, at least you know throughout the game that you're losing. You're going to lose, season's over, and you can move on. And you're not heartbroken in the same way you'd be heartbroken if you had a lead, your hopes were high, and you thought you were going to make it, and you blow a lead. I think I would rather definitely get blown out by a team than blow a lead. Tiff says, Chargers didn't deserve a playoff spot. They lost several games they should have won. The Texans, and with a good offense and Herbert at the helm, they simply underperformed. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. And, you know, I agree that they didn't deserve a playoff spot. I guess what I meant more so by the fact that I thought the Chargers should have been in is that just they're the more talented team than the Steelers or the Raiders. Obviously, there's more than just talent in the NFL. You know, you got to execute, you got to work hard. You know, there's a lot more than just talent. But I think, you know, other teams in the playoffs in the AFC dodged a bullet by not having to run into that Chargers talent. And, you know, so I guess it all depended on what kind of Chargers team showed up in the playoffs. But, you know, I don't know. They didn't deserve a playoff spot. You're right. But, man, you can't deny their talent. Carson says, I don't think the Chargers were ready. They were so inconsistent all season, and Brandon Staley does not have a good. Yeah. You know what? All right, you guys are changing my mind. You're right. The Chargers didn't deserve it. I think I agree now. After I thought about it. I mean, they did have many opportunities to solidify a playoff spot earlier in the season, and they were in that game against the Texans, which was a must-win game, and they laid an absolute goose egg. So you know what? I agree. DJ says Bengals are really shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, as were the Raiders did too, horribly. Robert says blown out. If you're blown out, you're not in the game. I agree, Robert. 100% blown out. Carson agreeing with Sif. Yep. You guys changed my mind. Sif and Carson changed my mind on that one. I was opposite, but I flipped. Blowing a lead upset me more than a blowout. I agree, Kyle. I don't trust Tannehill. He can't win games. I think Tannehill can win games with. This is going to be wild. I think A.J. Brown is more imperative to Ryan Tannehill's success than Derrick Henry. Is that a wild thing to say? I don't think it is. Because the few weeks that the Titans lost a couple games after Derrick Henry went down, A.J. Brown was also out. But, you know, they also had Donta Foreman. They had Adrian Peterson there for a short spell. But once A.J. Brown returned in probably their biggest game of the season, yeah, I agree, DJ. A.J. Brown is the reason why Ryan Tannehill looks good. I think A.J. Brown helps Ryan Tannehill a lot more than Derrick Henry does. I agree, DJ. What do we say? I'm missing a lot, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up, but I keep trailing off in comments. It all depends on if Henry comes back the same. Yeah, Henry's a big part of it for the Titans as a whole, but I think the Titans will be able to make up a fight in whatever game they find themselves in if A.J. Brown is healthy. I think A.J. Brown is imperative for Ryan Tannehill to be successful. How rusty will Henry be as well? I guess we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how Henry is, but he's going to be – I think he's healthy this week. If they would have played, I think he would have played. But he has a full week off. I think he'll be ready to go. I have a feeling Bengals will beat the Titans just because Tannehill, I don't trust him as much as Burrow, and the Bengals defense is better than Titans. Well, the Bengals lost Trey Hendrickson in their game today, if you didn't realize. But they lost their best pass rusher. I would say their best pass rusher. So that might be something to watch going forward. Without him, I think they're a little bit transformed defensively. Remember last year when people were saying Mayfield was better than Allen? Yeah, Justin, that's funny. I actually made a video last year talking about this very topic when Stephen A. Smith, specifically, a moron that doesn't deserve to be talking about football, said that Baker Mayfield was better than Josh Allen, and I was ready to throw hands. But yes, that is a funny one. Tannehill could win games, but playoff games, nah. Yep, Patriots blew a 0-0 lead. Patriots blew a 20-year lead of just dominance over the Bills. They had a 22-decade lead of Bills, Patriots over Bills dominance, and they blew it today. It all goes out the window now. DJ says AJ Brown is AJ. Yep, I agree. Julio might shine. Julio had his first touchdown this past week against the Houston Texans. His first touchdown with the Titans. Who would have thought that his impact would have been that minimal? I mean, the dude just can't stay healthy. He's old, crippled. His bones are brittle. Dude can't. His muscles are brittle, I should say. He just can't do it. Juice says, you know what's crazy? Wentz is way better stats than Tannehill. That is crazy. That is very crazy. Considering how Wentz finished. Yeah, that's crazy. Hendrickson might come back. The best pass rusher. Bills can beat the Chiefs. It all depends on which Josh Allen we're going to see. Yeah, agreed. If Hendrickson comes back, then I like the Bengals defense, maybe slightly more than the Titans. But without Trey Hendrickson, I think the Titans pass rush is better than the Bengals. And that could be problematic for Joe Burrow because, you know, even though Joe Burrow has been very successful this year, he still was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow was. So, you know, that pressure could really get on him. Let's see. Dylan, what's going on, man? It's awesome to see you in here. 2 a.m. Thank you for hopping in, bro. Juice says Michael Pittman is good, but he can't be our number one receiver. We need more weapons. I think he could be the number one receiver, but I also think he needs help. Like, he's not. I think AJ Brown is the number one receiver who handles a lot of weight. I don't think he's got much talent around him. So yeah, I think Michael Pittman is like that tier below AJ Brown. I think he's like a tier 2 kind of guy. But I still think he can be a number one receiver given more help around him, if that makes sense. DJ says Tannehill gets sacked a lot. He does, but Joe Burrow gets sacked more. See, I actually looked up that stat today, so I'm not speaking out of my ass. If you guys want to see insane stat padding, check out the 2019 Dallas week. Dak had like 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception despite getting dominated. That is a big conversation, especially with, now that you say that, Sif, Deshaun Watson is a big candidate. You know, one of the big conversations surrounding Deshaun Watson before he was even in trade talks or masseuse trouble was Deshaun Watson's stats and how good he actually was, because, you know, he found himself in a lot of games with the Texans where they were not in it, and he would try to make a game out of it later on in the third and fourth quarter, and people were like, you know, this guy stat pads. This guy, you know, they don't win, but he's got good stats because, you know, he finds himself down multiple possessions in third and fourth quarters, and he puts a lot of points in that time period. So, you know, I think Deshaun Watson, man, here's a question. Here is a question that just came into my mind. Much love, bros. Yeah, right back at you. Wentz is still getting better mentally. I noticed that even when Burrow is sacked, he plays great with other QBs set. Yep. I think Carson Wentz and his health. I think Carson Wentz's health was a big reason why he struggled this year. Carson Wentz obviously tore his ACL, right? If I'm not mistaken. He also, and then he broke like both ankles. Like DJ, didn't Carson Wentz like break both ankles early on the season? I think his health really did play a big part on their mental health. I think his physical health played a big part. I think Carson Wentz was not able to be Carson Wentz because of the physical injuries he suffered, as well as the mental side of it. I think he really struggled mentally. I was high on Carson Wentz this year. I really thought he was going to return to that form. And there were points during the season where Carson Wentz showed that he still had a little bit in him. But you got to finish the job, man. You got to at least make the postseason with that team around you. Robert says Stafford padding stats in Detroit. Possibly. I think Stafford definitely found himself in games where he was given the ability to stat pad, but I also think Stafford showed enough on the tape itself that made you think like this guy actually could be it. He definitely is a franchise guy. He's got the talent. He's got the arm strength. I think Matthew Stafford is just another one of those guys that have perfected the physical part of the game, but are still coming short of the mental side. But he still certainly can get there. And I think that's why guys nowadays are very big on taking players, whether they're quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive ends, linebackers, that are physically built to be freaks. And if they're able to come along with that mental side of the game, then, you got the physical tools, and then you polish them mentally. They can be one of the best. And that's what's happened with Josh Allen, as we've been seeing. I think a guy like Carson Wentz, Matthew Stafford, those two guys have always been physically talented. They've always had the tools and the physical capabilities, but it's always been the mental side with those two guys that's held them back. So, I think that's where, a guy like Stafford falls, Carson Wentz. I don't think they're similar quarterbacks, but in the sense that, to reiterate, they have the ability to, but the mental side kind of brings them down. Anyway, DJ says the ankle injury affected him 100%. If Colts were the 7th seed right now, they could beat the Chiefs. I think the Colts would have been one of the best teams in the playoffs if they were in it, if they didn't finish the season the way they did. Easily. The Colts would be the top team I'd be terrified of right now if they were in the playoffs. Like, honest to God, I did not want nothing to do with them, especially after the way they handled us earlier this year. No. I want no Colts involvement. Juice says, I wanted to get Stafford, but the Rams offered too much for him. Yeah, the Rams, you were not beating the Rams offer, that's for sure. The Rams sold the house for a lot of talent this year. I think Matthew Stafford would have been a pretty good candidate to fit the mold that the Colts are looking for right now. Wow, yeah, Matthew Stafford would have been perfect for the Colts right now, in my opinion. Now that I think about it. Let's see, what else we got? Sif says, yes, 100% agree, Caveman. Watson's stats were amazing in that 4-win season last year. I know wins aren't necessarily QB stat, but they weren't in most. Yeah, I mean, stats are a compelling way to read a player. But at the end of the day, sometimes the stats don't tell the story. And I think Kirk Cousins specifically is a player that a lot of fans fall victim to. A lot of people like to claim that Kirk Cousins is a very good, potentially top 10. I know people that think that Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback, and I cannot even comprehend that because his stats are good. He's got pretty stats. The dude throws for over 4,000 yards, always has a fantastic touchdown interception ratio. He's always got the statistics, always has like a 100 QBR for the season, but his team is rarely successful. Rarely. His time in Minnesota, he's made the playoffs once. He didn't even play in that postseason. So stats are an interesting, compelling argument. It all depends on your perspective. DJ says Josh Allen has a cannon, but he has mental problems, and it affects him. Yeah, I agree. I think this season Josh Allen has matured a ton. There were games this year where you really questioned his decision making, but I think Josh Allen's decision making was influenced because of the pressure that he was put under. I think Josh Allen, of course, I'm talking as a Bills fan here, so I might get a little biased. I might sound a little biased, but I think Josh Allen was a victim of pressure, and it forced him into poor decision-making. And, he felt like in games where he had to put the team on his back because he wasn't getting any assistance from the offense around him, he started to make bad decisions. He started to play hero ball. And playing hero ball, playing with Superman syndrome, as I like to call it, is the worst thing you can do. And I think Josh Allen fell victim to that, and I didn't really want to blame him a lot during the season. So I agree with that, DJ. But, at the same time, I really wouldn't blame him, if that makes sense. But, yeah, Josh Allen is nowhere near perfect yet. He played a perfect game tonight, but he's still got a long way to go. Not ready to say anything crazy, but if he's able to polish that side of the game, he could be one of the best ever. Carson says, it's late, so I'm wishing the Bills good luck against it. Carson, bro, I know it's late. It's crazy how the time is ticking. Carson, I appreciate you stopping in, bro. I don't know if you're still in here, but thank you if you're dipping out. I appreciate your support, man. It means the world to me, so thank you for stopping in. DJ says, I just hope that Arrowhead Stadium won't affect Josh Allen. I don't think so. I think Josh Allen is not worried about stuff like that. Of course, the crowd noise might get a little annoying when, audibling before plays, making pre-snap adjustments. But I don't think the crowd noise and the pressure of playing in front of, the opposing crowd will be something that bothers him. Personally, I mean, who am I to say? What else do we got? I think Wentz has never been the same after Foles won the Super Bowl. It'd be hilarious if the Colts traded for Foles. Sif, what kind of evil shit? Sif, what do you got against Carson Wentz, man, to wish something like that upon him, man? That would send Carson Wentz, poor Carson Wentz, man. That would be horrible. He's a good guy. Why would you wish something like that on him? That's cynical, man. DJ says Josh Allen about to get nightmares from last year AFC. Hey, relax, DJ. Relax. Don't forget this is still a Buffalo Bills fans channel that you're talking right now. Don't get crazy on the Josh Allen stuff. No, but really. But you never know. Bills can beat the Chiefs. Bills are very talented. Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs would be a pretty decent draw for the Bills. Last year I was horrified to play the Chiefs. This year, not so much. I think we've come a long way, especially down the stretch here. I think if you would have asked me this question halfway through the season, I would tell you I was scared of the Chiefs. But now I think we've taken some strides in terms of our performance and our execution to make me think that we could actually go toe to toe with the Chiefs. And I also say that because I feel like the Chiefs are not the same team that they've been over the last couple of years, so that also helps. Juice says something that I wanted to happen that I'm very, very grateful didn't. Imagine if the Bills took Josh Rosen. I think Josh Rosen would have been a damn good game manager, but he would be no Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Rosen would be where he is if the Bills took him. I think he would be probably kind of like a Baker Mayfield, maybe slightly better, maybe slightly worse, but he would be no Josh Allen. We would not have even known what we missed out on, that's for sure. Schiff said that would have meant that there were only 6 other mistakes. Yeah. Yeah, really. Juice says, if we got a top-tier quarterback, if prefer someone other than Wilson because he's undersized. Yeah, I don't think Russell Wilson's size is really an issue at this point. I think he's proven. I think Russell Wilson's proven himself size regardless of what he can do in the NFL, right? But my interesting question to you guys that I want to pose real quick is, before the season started, when all that Deshaun Watson stuff was going on, of course we weren't in the conversation to trade for Deshaun Watson because we had Josh Allen. But a lot of people were still saying that Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson was a better quarterback than Josh Allen at that time. I don't think that's true anymore. Obviously, Deshaun Watson hasn't been able to fight his case this year, but I think Josh Allen's far better than Deshaun Watson at this point, especially if Deshaun Watson comes back and he attempts to shake off any rust under a new franchise. Hard to beat Josh Allen where he's at right now, right? DJ says, what's your opinion on the Raiders? The Raiders are a team that I love, man. Wow. I came to love the Raiders for one reason, and that was Derek Carr. Derek Carr struck me personally on a different level when all of that shit was going down with the Raiders early on in the season. Derek Carr strikes me as a human that is very, very belief built. He, he prides who he is on his belief system and his morals, and I admire that. He doesn't switch up under the public eye, and I really admire that in a man, in a guy like Derek Carr, and he's really touched me in a different way. And with that being said, I think Derek Carr is the glue to that Las Vegas Raiders team, and I think that's why they made it as far as they did, because of Derek Carr, not only his performance on the field, but what he did behind the scenes as well. I mean, he publicly spoke out when John Gruden, when Henry Ruggs, when I don't know about Damon Arnett, but those guys were going through some stuff, and Derek Carr was being asked about these questions and asked questions about these things, about these guys and his organization, and he's just like refusing to shit on them. He's refusing to say anything negative. He's like, you know what? He said this about John Gruden. He said, I hate the sin, but don't hate the man, or something along those lines. Hate the sin, love the man. He said something like that. That takes some courage to say, given the context of the situation. He said after Henry Ruggs, of course, went through what he went through, nobody's going to be there for him right now, but I want to make sure he knows that I am. I mean, could you imagine, you're a star player, your teammate goes out and unfortunately gets involved in what Henry Ruggs got involved in. You're getting pelted with questions regarding this negative situation, and he's able to find it within himself to be that like, wow, I don't know. I just find that admirable. So the Raiders are a team that I think were built on Derek Carr's belief system. They were not very talented, to be perfectly honest. I think their offensive, I think their skill position players lack. I think their bottom half on the offensive side of the ball, their offensive line sucks. Their secondary is really banged up. So with that being said, I think the Raiders were a good team, but not good enough to be a playoff team because, to be a playoff team, I think you need to have a combination of talent as well as, that hardworking, tough mentality. And I think the Raiders had that hardworking team-like mentality, but they lacked the talent. So that's how I felt about the Raiders. Josh Allen is better than Watson. I'd agree. Thoughts on Bashaud Breeland? Where did he go? Where did Bashaud Breeland end up going? I don't remember, personally. But I thought, Bashaud Breeland would be somebody that the Bills might go and grab because I know he got cut from the Vikings because of a disagreement that he had with the coaching staff, which is kind of funny now because now the coaching staff has been fired, or at least Mike Zimmer has, and the general manager for that matter. But, I thought maybe with the secondary struggling, or if the secondary would have struggled for the Bills, that we might have looked at a guy like Bashaud Breeland. But, I mentioned it earlier in the stream that our secondary came a long way, and they've been able to play without Trey White. So I think we're all right. Which team picks up Watson? I don't know where Watson goes. I honestly don't know if Watson will ever play another down of football. I think it's very weird that the whole situation has gone completely silent. And I don't think a team will let him play unless he gets his name completely cleared. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. What did Gruden exactly do? He, I guess, a number of years back, he was very homophobic and racist in a number of emails and everything that he released when he was with the Washington football team, or the Washington Redskins, of course, at the time. So, yeah, they got leaked. He got under fire. He put in hot water, and he was obviously relieved of his duties. So that's what John Gruden did. So, yeah, that's on that note. But, oh, man, 2 hours, guys. I think it's 2 a.m. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up. My throat is parched. I can't even believe this has been going on for 2 hours. That's crazy. But, yeah, guys, big, humongous Bills win tonight. One of the greatest feelings as a Bills fan you can have. It was amazing, an awesome game, a lot to look forward to. DJ says it's 11 p.m. over here. Well, I want to be where you are because it's 2:10 a.m. right now for me. I'm dying. My throat is on fire. Sif says, I have a feeling the Packers will do anything to keep Rodgers. Seeing Jordan Love in the field would make me wish I had Carson Wentz as my QB. Sif, you're right about that. I think the Packers will keep Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers will stay with the Packers, I should say. It seems like they've gotten over their beef. It seems like Aaron Rodgers and the general manager, Brian Gutekunst, whatever his name is, seem to have come a long way. So, yeah, I do think the Packers will end up staying with Aaron Rodgers. But, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking around with me this late for this long. It means the world to me. Robert, I appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always. It means the world, guys, honestly. But, yeah, you guys know how I roll around here. Can't forget to plug it. But, yeah, I think that's about it. Let's go, Buffalo. Can't wait. A lot of playoff football to be remaining. Tomorrow's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So we're rooting for Steelers win, right? We're rooting for is that the last AFC game? Steelers win. I think it is. No, it's not. Is it? Anyway, I'm out, guys. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. Oh, I end this shit.